Hello and welcome. I'm your host, William Liu. You are listening to the Raptors Reaction Podcast presented by Betway. For all your sports betting activities, hit the QR code that you see here on the screen or follow the link that you see in the description of the episode. Raptors get completely blown out in the second half. They lose 138-107 at home against the Memphis Grizzlies. That means in the two games where the Grizzlies swept the Raptors this season, they scored 293 points in those two games, because as you recall, the first game against Memphis, Raptors lost by 40-something points, but more importantly, they gave up 155 points, which is the most the Raptors have given up in franchise history. It was the most that Grizzlies had scored in their franchise history, and it was also the game where Darko completely crashed out and tried to change the game by getting himself thrown out. Of course, there was not much of a response then. That was a couple months ago now, and the Raptors have done a really good job of turning their season around in terms of like just in season, the performance stabilized. Defensively, they were a lot stronger. But again, when they faced up against Memphis tonight, they were not able to get it done. I mean, damn. The Raptors did play pretty well in the first half. I think the Raptors actually were up in the first half, if I'm correct. Yeah, Raptors were actually up by 6 points in the first half. And they were doing a really good job of sharing the ball. I thought their shell defense actually did a really good job of slowing down the Grizzlies initially. But in the second half, Memphis scores 43 in the third quarter and 42 in the fourth quarter for 85 points in the second half. And the Raptors just did not have nearly the enough firepower to get that done. By the way, I do see in the chat here that we're in Somewhere Fancy. That's right. We are live from Hong Shing, #1 Chinese restaurant in the city. Debate with your mom. But yeah, seriously, this is the place to be. And I'm actually have plans to be at Hong Shing later tonight. So decided to just go straight from the arena to Shing. And our boys here are taking care of us as always. Big shouts to Clement and Vince. So, yeah, I mean, Raptors, though, I mean, they got it's so funny because in the first half, they actually played a really good game. Like I mentioned, like defensively, it felt like they were actually anticipating a lot of what Memphis wanted to do. The Raptors it felt like at times almost played like a pseudo zone in certain times where they were able to get deflections and, they were able to play in transition. I thought the way they moved the ball was beautiful. Jacoby Walter had a really strong first half. Jamal Shead, those two, by the way, started in the backcourt, probably the first time the two of those guys have started in the backcourt, but probably not the last time that you've seen those two start together. But they both got off to good starts. I thought Grady was able to play in transition. And even though Scottie wasn't scoring, and it turns out Scottie would not score much in this game because he shot 4 of 18 from the field. And I'll get to that because there's been two really quiet games here offensively for Scottie Barnes in the last two contests here over the course of 24 hours between the Knicks game and the Grizzlies game. Raps are actually getting some good contributions across the board, and they were doing a good job of being in the game and leading at halftime. And quite frankly, you just didn't see much from Memphis outside of Jaren Jackson Jr., who was just dominant throughout. I mean, the All-Star tonight, 32 points, and just taking it to the Raptors. I mean, he was hitting from three. He was balling the Raptors down low. He was blocking shots. I mean, it was just like a complete dominant effort from Jaren Jackson Jr. But as soon as the Grizzlies came out of halftime, and honestly, maybe the Raptors were distracted because literally in real time as this all happened, there was the breaking news that Jimmy Butler had been traded. That happened in the second quarter of this game. And then it was, I guess, reported in a later set of tweets from Shams that the Raptors will be getting Kyle Anderson, which is, potentially a part of this trade as Jerome live. Okay, what's going on, Jerome? Oh, you pouring me tea? This is sick, man. This is amazing. This is just tea, I promise. But it was reported live that, the Raptors were going to be able to make a trade. And so, I don't know, maybe the players went into halftime, saw their phones, saw the trades. Maybe that involved somebody on the Raptors. Again, we don't know because that trade is actually not happening because as has since been reported, Lee Kyer is indeed not coming to Toronto. And I will be crashing out with my co-host Alex Wong about that shortly because he is right now watching the timeline, seeing what other trades are being made in the moment. But still, an entirely different effort in the second half. And Ja Morant in that third quarter, I mean, it was just like blockbuster stuff. 16 of his, 26 points in the third quarter alone. Just his ability to just jump, hang in midair, and then, wait for you to come down, and then he makes a decision. It's like the closest thing that we have in the modern game to like an Allen Iverson. He's got that creativity. He's got that sort of like drive. He just went at the Raptors. I mean, the Raptors this year have played pretty good defense against opposing point guards when they have Jamal Shead and Davion Mitchell, which is what they played tonight. They could not do anything with Ja Morant. And I'm sure for a rookie like Jamal, it's like the first time you meet a guy like this, like there's nothing that can prepare you. Like he's probably the most athletic guard that he's had to guard in his life ever. Like not even close. So how are you supposed to anticipate sort of playing against a guy like this? There was that aspect. Jaren Jackson was really starting to take it to the Raptors. The Raptors just in this game, especially in the second half, I mean, just outsized. You know, like in the classic Shea versus Donovan Mitchell, like the Raptors got outmeted, bro. Like in the middle, it was just Zach Edey pushing Kelly Olynyk around. It was Jaren Jackson pushing Scottie Barnes around, and then Jonathan Mobley trying to play backup center. Orlando Robinson trying to come in there. It was just like they were getting pushed out of the ring. It was like Royal Rumble. Like Zach Edey was picking up Kelly Olynyk and throwing him off the court. That's how much he was dominating that matchup in the middle. And again, the Raptors offensively, you know, they couldn't play in transition as much. The Grizzlies stopped turning the ball over, and it just became a snowball. And by the end of the third quarter, the game was already over. That fourth quarter, it just became more and more over. And the Raptors just didn't have offensively the type of firepower to go back at them. I mean, Grady Dick, 5 of 17 from the field, 1 of 7 from 3. Kelly Olynyk, 3 of 11 from the field, 1 of 5 from 3. Scottie Barnes, 4 of 18 from the field, 0 of 7 from 3. If you were going to be able to counter a team like Memphis, who have so much size, you need to be able to knock down the 3 and maybe play them in space and all that kind of stuff. The Raptors shot 12 of 42 from 3 tonight for 28%. And again, 1 of 5 from Kelly, 1 of 7 from Grady, and 0 of 7 from Scottie. I mean, that's 3 of your starters right there. And they just could not get it done. And quite frankly, like, you know, it is a little concerning in the last 2 games here, seeing how much Scottie has struggled. Last game, 24 hours ago when the Raptors lost to the Knicks, also at home, you know, Scottie did not have a good game in that one as well. I thought he really struggled with the size of the defensive players that New York was putting on him. They put their backup center, Ariel Hukporti, on him. And, you know, Scottie, a lot of instances could not get free from him. Took a lot of mid-range shots, but missed a lot of those. It's starting to get a little predictable, like I mentioned in the last episode, that Scottie wants to get to that shot. Like, you could even go into opposing locker rooms, and you'll see on their whiteboard in terms of, like, what are the keys for this night's game. Like, Scottie Barnes, 2 dribble, turn over the shoulder, fade away from the mid-range is, like, a very clearly defined item for every opposing team right now. So it becomes a thing that teams are really, really looking to stop. And last game, he goes 8 of 23. Tonight, he goes 4 of 18. Of course, both games, he couldn't knock down the 3. The 2 games combined, he went 1 for 12 from 3. That really only makes it even more difficult because when they're putting size on you, ideally, you're able to sort of, you know, get the 3s up and then you force a couple closeouts. And in the few instances where Scottie actually scored tonight, it was mostly when guys were closing out on him and he was able to drive in and he got an and one like that. But you know, that's not sustainable. Like, more than anything else, like, it's okay for, like, a Grady to play against closeouts. It's okay for, like, you know, Ochai and all these other guys to play against closeouts. But when you're the main shot creator, you know, you have to be the one creating the advantage. And you just didn't see that, right? Usually, Scottie will have a physical advantage on his guy. But the last 2 games, like I mentioned, they've been throwing really bigger and stronger and also equally as quick players to guard him. Jaren Jackson Jr. is an incredible defender. You know, he really did swallow up Scottie quite a few times in this game. But you also started to see, like, the confidence start to drain from him as the game went on. You know, there was a couple of plays, like, for example, Marcus Smart lining up to take a charge. Just the most obvious thing that Smart's going to flop as soon as he gets the contact. He's on that Kyle Lowry level of, like, efficiency of taking charges. And Scottie just ran right through him to the point where Marcus, when the camera panned him on the ground after getting the charge call, he's laughing about it because he's like, Don't you know who I am? Like, you know this is happening. And you know Scottie's such a smart, cerebral player, but you could tell that, you know, in a lot of these games, he starts to sort of, like, lose an idea of, like, what can I do? He feels a little overwhelmed offensively. This feels a lot closer to at the end of December when the Raptors were really struggling. You know, and Scottie was sort of, like, a big part of that in terms of the struggle offensively. He's challenged to be the one to create those advantages. You know, it's really difficult. Like, it's not to say he doesn't do anything, because in this one, he still had 9 assists. A lot of those were really beautiful assists, hitting guys, cutting back door, hitting guys, you know, driving and kicking into the corner. You know what I mean? When he had a double team, he made a right pass every single time. But also, when he was tasked to score, he just couldn't match it, right? Like, you look at Memphis, Ja could create an advantage anytime he wanted to. And the Raptors had a double team Ja, you know, but Ja was still able to create, you know, all sorts of things for his team. But then even Jaren Jackson Jr., who, I mean, this is probably the most impressive I've seen him. This is the first time in his career he's got 30 plus points in 3 straight games. I mean, he was physically dominant. He was knocking down the 3, which helped too. But he was looking for his shot. He was patient. He was using his size. And even defensively for Scottie, who's typically very good at using his size to contain and body up and cut off drives and stuff like that, he couldn't do nothing with Jaren Jackson Jr. Jaren was working him really, really well. And it made to the point where it was just like he was losing that matchup so badly. And it's like, fine, maybe you don't match the opposing number 1 player, but if you can't match the opposing number 2 player, then you're going to get into a blowout situation. Because it wasn't like Scottie was getting much help either. Typically, again, without RJ, because he's been in the concussion protocol the last 2 games, Raps are really missing that secondary scoring. And I'm not saying that RJ would have flipped this game. I mean, honestly, Memphis is just on a way, way, way higher level than Toronto is at the moment. Again, they've scored 293 points in 2 games against the Raptors this season. But RJ at least sometimes will create that sort of like, you know, not just even like he leads the team in scoring. Like he leads the team in scoring this whole season, right? So when you miss him, like you really do miss his presence on the offensive end. There isn't that sort of like replacement level of offense for an RJ Barrett, right? Like you look at, for example, when the Raps beat the Clippers on the weekend, RJ did a really good job and he led the team in scoring that game as well. You know, he's the one who's driving to the basket and the defense has got to key in on him and then other guys can sort of play off of the attention that he draws in that instance. This time, you know, in the last game against the Knicks, the Raptors have just really lacked that sort of like counter punch. You know, like, yes, Jamal Shead was kind of like that number 2 option last night, and he was really key to the comeback with his energy and everything like that. But eventually, when it comes down to like, okay, you're in the game at the end, what do you got? And Jalen Brunson's got turnaround jumpers and pull-up jumpers, and it's like it's going in every single time. Versus when the Raptors, they can't really get to a consistent shot. There's not a consistent play they want to get to every single time. That's for me, like those are the key differences. And again, like nobody expects the Raps to be able to compete with New York, compete with Memphis when they're short bodies, right? Tonight, Jakob Poeltl didn't play. You got the hit pointer. Emmanuel quickly, he's being, I guess, load managed. It's the second half of back-to-back. The other guys, as much as we get excited for Jacoby Walters, excited for Jamal Shead, they're not ready to go blow for blow with like established all-stars like Jaren Jackson and John Morant. So I guess long story short, Raps didn't really have enough in the tank here. And again, one last thing too is just the size of Zach Edey, right? Because we have to, you know, I mean, everybody's cheering for Zach Edey, right? He's like, he's gonna be the best center that Canada's ever produced. With all due respect to Jamal McGlure, who made the All-Star game, or Samuel Dalembert, who's in the league a long time, or Bill Wennington, who won a championship, or even Dwight Powell and Kelly Olynyk, these kind of guys. You know, Zach Edey, even as a rookie right now, looks so physically dominant that it's like Wemby, but on a different axis. Like, you know, Wemby on the y-axis is impossible. Longest player in the league, can do whatever he wants, jumps, everything, super skinny. Zach isn't, like, big, like, you know what I mean? Like, he's not chubby the way he was at times when he first came into Purdue. The amount of work that guy's put into his body is nuts because Zach Edey should easily be like a 300 to 350 type pound player based on how tall he is. 7'5", he's got gigantic bones, everything like that. But if you see him in person, especially because before the game, we were all there to watch Zach work out, and he didn't have his jersey on, he just had the undershirt on. He's skinny, man. He's like legit skinny. There's not any fat on this guy already, which is to me so impressive for a guy who's put so much work into his body already. And he's still big. Like the muscles are still popping everywhere. So he's like moving people around. Like the way Kelly Olynyk had to play center tonight. And again, it's not totally fair because, you know, he's had to step in to play center because of the fact that Jakob Poeltl was out with injury tonight. But like if Jakob Poeltl was in tonight, he would have been out with injury by the end of the night because that's how much Zach Edey was pushing guys around. Like I tweeted during the game, Zach Edey was moving in this game like he was Godzilla. Like he was just pushing guys around. There were plays where he had a screen where he knocked down Jamal Shead trying to chase around him. Then he was like pinning his own man with one hand and then like, you know, basically using the other hand to just guide John Morant all the way to the rim like a bouncer. Like it's ridiculous watching him. He is just like physically dominant on a scale that like, you know, because he doesn't even jump that much either, right? It's just the strength of his movement. But, like, this is one of those games where if you're Kelly Olynyk and you're sitting in an ice bath right now at Scotiabank Arena, you're thinking about it. You're like, damn, bro, like, I don't know how much longer I could play in this league. Like, and it's all due respect to Kelly. I'm not trying to slander him whatsoever, right? A lot of players would struggle with Zach Edey, but the physicality element was just night and day. He was just pushing people around so easy. And he doesn't even get the ball that much. Like, he only got 5 shots tonight. He made all 5. But he got 14 rebounds, 5 offensive. And again, it was just when you watch the game, it was ridiculous. There's plays where there's a play in the second quarter where Jonathan Mobile got the ball near the basket and Zach Edey was also there. And against almost any other center, maybe not Wemby, or maybe like not against Joel Embiid and that type of player, but like against most team centers, like 90% of team centers, Mobile would have went up strong, maybe try to dunk with 2 hands, maybe try to put up on the glass, something. He turned around, saw Zach Edey, and it was like that scene from Rush Hour 3 when Chris Tucker opened the door in the dojo and he sees, Sun Ming Ming, who is like probably the only bigger Asian. Him and Yao Ming are like, the same size as Zach Edey basically. And Chris Tucker literally sees this like 7'9" guy and starts backing up, and then he gets like beat up or whatever. Like that's how it felt for Mobo. He saw him, he was like, I'm gonna go up, and he's like, no, oh my God. And then he passed it to someone else. I think it was Grady Dick, tried to also go to the rim, saw Zach Edey, also backed out of it. It was like guys were running scared. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, it's just so physically dominant watching him play. There's other things, like the Raps obviously try to play 5 out, test his foot speed, all that kind of stuff. It helps a lot more if Kelly could knock down the threes. Again, tonight he was really cold, 1 of 5. Kelly is shooting really well from 3 this season, so this is just an off night. But still, I just got to say, like, physically, I mean, he was bullying the Raptors, man. I felt really bullied on behalf of the guys. So that's the report from the game. I think, of course, with less than 24 hours to go at the trade deadline, there's going to be a lot of talk about what's going on with the trades. Jimmy Butler just got traded, so we're going to get co-host Alex Wong into the shot here as we make room for our guy. What's going on, man? Did you enjoy the Zach Edey meet-off report?
Yo, what's up? Let's get ourselves in good position here.
Yeah,
too close?
No, we're a little too close, man. We're a little too close.
All right, this is good. This is
Jerome,
good.
like zoom out a little more. Yeah, zoom out a little bit more.
We good?
Yeah. Just keep coming in, man. Come on.
Come in.
You can
come
see
close.
yourself. Center yourself.
I see myself.
Why you look so small sitting next
Yo,
to me?
this is run it back. This is run it back again, man. Listen, how are you gonna talk about? You really gonna do a Zach Edey talk and reference Godzilla and Rush Hour 3, man? Come on, man. You're leaning all into the stereotypes, man.
Okay, what do you want me to call
Can
him,
we
man?
name
The Great Khali?
Can we name like a North American monster? Why does it have to be Godzilla?
Yeah,
There's got to be like a North American monster.
He looked like Bigfoot. Are you happy?
Yeah.
Bigfoot.
That's a lot better.
He looked like the Loch Ness monster. Okay?
And instead of Rush Hour 3, can we get like a North American? Well, it was a North American movie, but like a non-Asian centric movie.
He looked like. Well, is The Rock Asian? He's AAPI, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
we'll go
he's
with
in the
that.
eye.
Someone's like, is this a special Valentine's Day episode? Yo, Jerome, put a heart around us.
we had Hardo.
But what's up, man? Why are you so much bigger than me?
Yo, sit up, man.
Yo, I am sitting up is the problem.
Yo, tilt your
This
neck
is
or something.
actually me.
Yo, someone said Pacific Rim Edey. That's terrible.
Damn.
Yeah, what's going on, man? How was your class? How was teaching class?
Yeah. Shouts to all my U of T students. Wrapped up the class today.
Sick.
Good time. Shouts to Shireen Ahmed dropping by. Shouts to Colin and the crew here at Hong Sheng.
Yes, sir.
If you've been, I mean, I know there's a lot of loyal listeners here, but
Yeah.
we did an episode earlier here at Hong Sheng this season.
Yeah.
Where I believe we played a very fun Vince Carter basketball reference game.
Yes, right.
And we
Beverages were
drank.
consumed.
Yeah, we drank a lot of Baiju.
No tea.
Oh, we're not allowed to say that?
Yeah, we drank a lot of tea.
Yeah, a
Just
lot
for
of tea.
Asia.
My bad. But, shouts to Jerome, for setting this up for us again.
Uh-huh.
And we are actually strictly drinking tea.
No, like legit,
Yeah.
it's tea in here.
Yeah.
Here.
Please don't
Yeah,
spill
okay.
that. So what's up? We're going to take some questions first before we talk about the Kyle Anderson incident.
Let's take the questions first because, quite frankly, the Kyle Anderson debacle has me completely
The
heartbroken.
Lee Kyer gate.
At the moment. So it is time now for the Tangerine fan inbox. And I'll let you know that Tangerine is the official sponsor of official bank of the Toronto Raptors, foundational partner of WNBA Canada and NBA Canada. And, of course, they're not just fans of basketball. They're fans of basketball. They're fans of fans who have their own nickname for each guy in the starting five. By the way, shouts to Strizzy. Elite intros tonight, including for Jamal Shead. He said, hold on, what did he say here? I took the notes here. 1 second. It's time to ball with Jamal Shead.
This is like this is what you guys praise Shea's IG captions for.
And for Kelly Olynyk.
Shouts to Strizzy, though.
For Kelly Olynyk, it was the man with the headband from Scarborough. Kelly Olynyk.
First of all, there's got to be things that rhyme with Olynyk.
Yeah.
Like he's putting on a clinic.
Ooh.
It's Kelly Olynyk.
What's the clinic, man?
I don't know. Probably a CCYA clinic.
That's what Zach Edey was doing.
But no, the man with the headband is just one level below representing We the North.
He a rubber band man. Shouts to Tip. Anyway, Tangerine are fans of fans. And if you're listening to this, there's no doubt of your commitment. Fans like you are at the heart of what makes this game great. So this season, for the Raptors' 30th anniversary, Tangerine is turning the spotlight from the court to the stands and celebrating the way Raptor fans support their team, because this is how we fan. To learn more, visit tangerine.ca/basketball. All right, Alex, what were the questions you got here?
Let's see what Jerome's got us.
Jerome says, from Mr. Raptors Moments, shouts to Raptors Moments.
Stop posting that photo of me and Edie, bro. It's not helping the.
Yo, actually,
it's not.
That's what we
Jerome,
look like right now.
Let me sit up
even
Oh no,
bigger.
I see Jerome putting a heart on us.
Let me sit even bigger, man.
Yo, stop posting photos that make me look like a short king.
I mean,
I'm not hating though. No,
how tall are you actually?
I think I'm 5'8". Yeah.
You're not 5'8", bro. What? No.
You don't think I'm 5'8"?
No.
You think I'm shorter than that?
No, you're like 5'10", man.
Oh, really? See, I like to be the opposite.
You're like 5'10". You're like almost 5'11".
You know how guys like to lie that they're 6 feet? Like, I like to go the other way. Well, I like to lie that I'm short.
Okay.
Anyways.
How's that going? Okay.
Not going well. Raptor moments. Question for William. When Scottie shoots threes pregame, do any of them go in? So this is a warm-up.
Brother.
This is a warm-up report question.
Wow. Give me one of these finger hearts for that too, actually. Wow. When Scottie shoots three pregame, I mean, it reminds me a little bit of when Pascal used to shoot threes pregame.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like it's
hot and cold. Hot and cold.
Yeah, it's pretty inconsistent. It's hot and cold.
Hot and sour soup.
Yep.
How special fried rice.
It's just what are you to read off the menu, man? The beef tenderloin, garlic beef tenderloin.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I would say he's inconsistent in warm-ups too.
Right.
Like sometimes he can really go on a run, like make 6, 7 in a row.
Right.
But also a lot of the times, like the shot will be off.
But we know Scottie's not like an above average 3-point shooter.
I
think people want that, right?
Well, last year he kind of pump faked it because at the start of the season he was really shooting the three ball well.
Sure.
And it was giving the hope that like, okay, you know what, it's gonna become like a new aspect of his game. Like I think this year, for example, people are really excited about the mid range, and I'm pretty excited about the mid range. Mm-hmm. Last year was about the three ball for him, and last season he ultimately finished the season shooting 34% from three. His career average right now is actually 30.4% from three. This season he's at 27%. Tonight he went 0 for 7, so that's gonna go a little bit lower. But, like, yeah, I mean, I think the numbers are what they are, right? It's a 4-year sample, and he's at a 30% three-point shooter.
Yeah, not to be a Scottie defender. I think some of these nights when he's having tough games, you got to consider the people who aren't in the lineup too, right?
Okay.
Like, think about some of the rosters that he's had to play with, and tonight a lot of guys were out, right?
Yeah,
so,
no, that's
so like, I think
fair.
some of that needs to be taken into consideration too.
Okay.
So.
But also at the same time, when you're the main guy,
I get
most
it.
of the times you're going to have to generate your own shots.
But we know Scottie's not, like, that type of number one guy where he's going to get you like 25 points every game type, right?
Well, that's where
all the fights happen in the chat.
That's why there's fights in the chat, but also that's why you would need to go in the draft this year and get the best player possible.
Sure.
And you may even go out there and get Brandon Ingram potentially in the next 24 hours here. Mm-hmm. So it is what it is. We kind of know what the deal is, but yeah, I mean, he's not a very consistent shooter. We know that. Next question. This one from Kalen. Any parting words for our fearless French slingshot merchant, Boucher? He will be missed. I don't have Twitter open. Is he officially traded or what's going on?
No, I think this is just in case this is the last time that we're going to see Chris Boucher and he'll be shipped tomorrow.
Man.
If you were to run into Chris, in the tunnel, at the game or whatever it is, tomorrow after, in practice, what would you say? What would you say to Chris given your long and documented history with Slim Duck. The Slim Duck saga might be coming to an end.
I'm going to ask him, do you want to take the 55 Saint Laurent to go to the Mile End? You know what I mean? I'll see you in the Mile End, my brother.
Okay. Can we go to the Orange Julep too? Is that on the way?
Can we go to Verdun? You know
is
what I
that
mean?
on the way?
Verdun is not on the way to Mile End, bro. Know that.
Can we go to the Montreal pool room? And
we can go. Yeah, I mean, let's go. Let's
get a couple steamies.
You know what I mean?
Call them steamies over there.
I'll see at Oshiega.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Not me.
Like, so a little vintage shopping out there.
Broke ass Coachella. Wait,
man.
didn't Kendrick Lamar headline that once?
He did actually. I was there.
You keep
for that
telling
one.
me that.
Yeah.
Seems like a lie.
Yo, everyone was screaming, "We gonna be all right." It was actually incredible.
Well,
man.
we're gonna be all right, guys.
Yeah. Although to be clear, Hong Shing is an OVO restaurant,
but Chris, longest tenure Raptor, bro.
I would just say don't count him out just yet. Although today I gotta say, like, he did not get into the game tonight. He was just kind of sitting at the end of the bench. Which is his typical spot on the bench. Like, I'm not gonna pretend like this is a new thing.
Sure.
And I just kept looking at him because I think at one point it was like, I think Wolstat tweeted the fact that he had run into the tunnel.
Right.
And it was unclear as to why. Of course, there was also this potential trade going on.
Well, this time of year, it's hard to.
Yeah.
You're gonna speculate every time.
We know for the Clippers, for example, when they were trading PJ Tucker, that they were looking at Chris Boucher as one of those options. They ultimately went with Drew Eubanks.
Sure. Yeah. Former Raptor, I believe.
Well, yeah.
He was rerouted, right?
He was rerouted like Lee Kyer.
No, we're not talking about that yet.
I would just tell Chris honestly, all jokes aside, I'm super proud of you, man. Like, you made yourself into a guy here.
Yeah.
Like, when Chris Boucher first joined the Raptors, there was no guarantee, right? He was 15th guy on the bench. He would play in garbage time.
Yeah.
Everyone would always say he would get a 3-up and stuff like that. To carve out a career from that to what he's done with the Raps now, which is sign multiple contracts and, be in the rotation for multiple teams and be part of different playoff teams too. Like, I have a lot of respect for Chris, man. And he's always been a really well-loved, player here by his teammates in particular. He's a really popular guy, and if he's gone, he's gone. But he's actually had a really good season this year too. This is a career year for him, especially with the efficiency. He's shooting 50% from from the field, 38% from three. I mean, lots of games he just gets benched out of nowhere for no reason.
Yeah,
he's never favored here, but he's stuck around the longest. So I got huge respect for Chris Boucher, man.
Yo, let me ask you a quick question here.
Okay, what's up?
So Chris is the longest tenured Raptor.
Okay.
And I actually have a list of just longest tenured players.
Okay.
I'm not going to go all 30 teams with you.
Okay, yeah, sure.
But can you tell me the longest tenured player on the Houston Rockets?
The longest tenured player on the Houston Rockets, is it Jalen Green?
It's Jayshawn Tate.
Oh, Jayshawn Tate.
Okay.
Goodness. Okay. Yeah,
Washington Wizards.
Washington Wizards, the longest tenured Washington Wizard. Oh my! Is it Corey Kispert?
It is Anthony Gill.
Anthony Gill. What? Okay.
Let's see if there's any other fun ones. Oh, longest tenured. Longest tenured Dallas Maverick. Probably know this one. Damn it.
Dwight Powell.
Yeah.
Dwight Powell's their version of Chris Boucher. Shouts to Dwight Powell.
Do you know Dwight Powell is the third longest tenured player with any team? After Steph and Giannis. It's Steph, Giannis, and Dwight Powell. Nico Harrison, do your job tomorrow. I know you got one more in you.
Does he wear Nikes? Because if he does, he probably not
getting traded. Nico, man, come on, man. Do a deluxe album tomorrow. Put 2 more trades on the market, man. Let's go.
Crazy. Also, what are the Raptors up to? Okay, we'll get to that in a second, but we got some more questions here. Hold on. Next one from Omeboy, who sent in $6.99. Thank you. We will be sending that to the restaurant here at Hong Shing. Would Scottie's best case scenario being the best player on the team, but the second option / passing hub? I mean, I would challenge people to which player are we describing when we envision this?
Okay. Who are you envisioning?
Who's the best player on their team, but they're the second option?
Right. That doesn't add up.
I think there's moments where
doesn't add up.
Jokic can certainly be a distributor.
Right. But Jokic can also give you...
I wouldn't call Jamal Murray the GOAT, the number one option.
Jokic can give you 40, and he is the number one option.
I mean, there's certainly seasons where, like Magic, for example, was distributing who's the point guard, but Kareem was leading the team in scoring.
I saw winning time.
That's what I saw.
I know you saw more Magic in winning time than real Magic.
I saw a lot of Magic in winning time, bro, and it was more off the court than it was on the court.
Yeah, sure. No, what you're saying is these are very rare occasions
very, very
where
rare.
you're calling someone the best player on the team,
right?
But he's also a passing hub / second option,
right? Even DeMontis Sabonis on the Kings. Is he
Sure.
their best player? But like, I guess when De'Aaron Fox was there, was Fox their number one option?
Right.
Like
right.
that style, maybe. I mean, honestly, like I want to see Scottie develop more of his primary scoring. That's why I've been so enthusiastic about his mid-range game because I think when it comes down to any level of basketball, like games will get a little bit tougher, especially in the playoffs. Like all this, like Raptors system, and sometimes we catch teams off guard with how much we pass and cut. If we get into playoff series like this, all that's going to be like really, really limited. Right. You're not going to beat a team in Game 7 because of how much you cut. Like we just recently rewatched Raptors Sixers Game 7.
Yeah.
Ain't no cutting in that one.
No.
You either make shots like Kawhi and surge,
just a lot
or
of choking.
you lose.
Yeah.
Right. So I think in that kind of instance, you got to get into a scenario where you can create the shot. You can create and get to a shot. And that's why I'm so enthused about the mid-range shot because, that's – okay, now it's one form of the mid-range shot. He's got 2 dribbles and then turn around over one shoulder. But, like, can you get into, like, a 1-dribble pull-up, a 2-dribble pull-up? You know what I mean? Like,
Okay,
can you fade away from the mid-range? Can you, like, you know what I mean? Like, pivot out of that and draw some fouls. Can you, like, up fake and step through? Tonight he tried to do that. Actually, Zach Edey was right. He, like, lifted Jaren Jackson with an up fake, tried to step through, and then Zach Edey was right there, didn't even jump, and he was just like, get out of here.
Yeah.
So, like – all that sort of pivoting off of that, plus I would do the 3-point shot as well. Right now, even the catch and shoot threes aren't strong for him. But he's obviously tried to work on the pull up 3. He loves that transition pull up 3.
Right.
Hasn't hit one since January, it feels like.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
So, like there's other steps to get to. But I actually like, if he doesn't reach that level, that's where the Raptors definitely need to give you that like play creation.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, because like, I don't know. I mean, you could, again, the passing hub idea is all good. He could do a lot of that, but like, I don't want to build my team around Bam Adebayo.
Yeah, and I think
you know what I mean. And I think Scottie's gonna be much better than Bam. He might even be better than Bam right now, especially offensively. But that passing hub kind of idea kind of reminds me of a Bam.
Yeah, and
which
I
is
think,
not a number one guy.
I think if like obviously if fans can see it, like the front office can see it too. So depending on where Scottie is, like where his development is on offense, like even like as we head into next season, I think they're gonna adjust accordingly in terms of like who they're going to add to the roster, how they're going to build the roster around them.
Right.
So,
breaking news: the Bucks are trading DeLon Wright and cash to the Knicks for Sims. Anyway, another question. Thank you for that. Next one from Rory, who also sent in $6.99. Appreciate you. Thank you. Shout out to Alex with some clutch recommendations. Was in the city tonight for tonight's game and yesterday's. Do you think Jacoby should be locked in rotation? I'm not actually sure what that means. Like locked in.
Like locked into the rotation.
Okay. Yeah. Got you. Yeah, absolutely. Like I mean, I know the front office was really excited to get Jacoby. You know that as well, and we can't reveal why. We know this, but and the last few games here, we've been really encouraged with what Jacoby's been doing. I mean, tonight I thought he actually started this game really strong. He's been able to knock down the 3, but he's also able to sort of play around the basket. There's like a really good stretch there. I thought in the beginning of the game, Jacoby started super strong. Like he made a baseline cut. And he finished reverse. He did that twice in this game. He had, a double team where he caught the ball near the basket. There was 2 guys on him. He was very calm, didn't rush it. Up fake, lift 2 defenders, and then stepped through and finished at the rim. That was really, really clever by him. There was another one where he had a really crazy midair catch because he was making that baseline cut a lot. Scottie threw a pass to him, but it was pretty high. He had to jump to catch it. So he caught it with one hand on the other side of the lane and then switched to the other hand and kicked it to the opposite corner to Ochai, wide open for 3. And the reason Ochai is open for 3 is because of how quickly he was able to catch and change hands and then throw it back out. Like, stuff like that was just really, really, really good. Like, he had a play where he hustled back to get a steal, then went the other way. Raps missed a shot, but then he hustled in for the offensive rebound. Like, he's just involved, man. And for a rookie, like, I know he started the season slower because of the fact that he missed training camp because of the torn shoulder, and then he tore his shoulder again, and then he went to the G League. Like, this is just kind of how it happens for a lot of rookies. But in the last couple weeks here, he has been really, really nice. And, I don't know. Like, what do you see as the future for Jacoby Walter?
Yeah, man. I think Jacoby's been bumped up to the point where we can see him as a starter in this league. I think coming in it was maybe he can have a bench role, but like I think he's like all the things that you mentioned. Like I think he's showing a lot of versatility with his offensive game.
Yeah. And
I feel like even heading into next year, depending on how the roster shakes out, like you could definitely see him in consideration for like a way bigger role.
Yeah.
So it's been a great pleasant surprise, like you mentioned, especially because like he got off, he like started late for his rookie season. So yeah, I know we've shouted out the front office a lot just for like doing a great job given their resources this past draft of coming up with all these players.
Right.
Like Mobo, Shead, all these guys that we've talked about. So,
Right.
wow, Jameson battle too? Okay.
Yeah, man.
Little minus 18 in 14 minutes.
We got J-Mo and J-Ba.
Oh, my God, no. This guy's the next Strizzy, man.
Oh, no.
Godzilla.
Goodness.
Starting
Run, Godzilla. Anyway.
Starting at center, Godzilla.
Next question, Jerome, please.
All right, let's take a couple more and then we'll get to
This
the
one from
trade.
Kalen. Question: how does Jordy Fernandez stepping away impact the future of Canadian basketball? I love this intensity and do not think that we can replace it right away. So it was broken. The news was broken today by a friend of the program, Michael Grange of Sportsnet, that Jordy Fernandez has indeed stepped away from the head coaching position of the Canadian men's national program. There's no comment right now from Canada basketball as to sort of who's next, but they do certainly have a bit of time here because Canada will not play in major tournaments until 2027 when they play in the World Cup, which will ultimately help determine their, Olympic status.
God, it's such a long way to get to for the next Olympics, man. Damn.
Yeah, so it's quite a while. They have some time. That being said, though, they obviously got to go find the right person. I thought Jordy did a really good job. I know some people are still a little bit bitter about the Olympics.
Sure.
And maybe you can argue that, like, he could have done the Olympics a little bit better. But also, like, it was a weird situation, right? Bringing in Jamal Murray, he wasn't ready. He wasn't physically ready. Kelly Olynyk, I felt like he aged a lot in the, between what he did in 2023 in the World Cup. I thought he actually played a pretty good role to the 2024 Olympics. He was barely used. They ran into that tough matchup against France because before that they were 3-0 in pool play. Did a really good job against Spain, against Greece, against Australia. Like, they did a great job in those games and they managed really well. Of course, the FIBA World Cup itself, they also did well in that one too. And it felt like the players really connected with them. Shea, Dylan Brooks, RJ Barrett, they all connected well with Jordy. So ultimately, I think that, he had done a really good job, and I'm actually really sad to see Jordy go as a head coach of the program. That being said, though, it's a pretty appealing job at the moment.
I think
especially for aspiring coaches, like head coaches in the NBA, right? Because I think Jordy was able to use that as a springboard to get himself into a head coaching job.
Yeah, someone said Pat Delaney for Cam Ball coach.
I mean,
you know what? We're doing Pat Delaney's PR this year, man. Tell Pat Delaney to get his ass dog shit.
That's not the guy I was going to pick because actually the Raptors assistant I thought of was Jama Mahalela.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
shout out to Jama.
We know Jama, he's RJ's workout coach right now.
Yeah.
He's got the connection with Andrew Wiggins.
Yeah, you probably want someone with a little bit of that connection.
He's got that connection.
I would say for Jordy, too, people are going to remember the loss to France and the fact that the team didn't medal. But, let's not also forget, him taking the job under the circumstances of after Nick Nurse left.
Yeah.
And leading that team to the FIBA World Cup and where they qualified for the Olympics. I think that was his most impressive job, right? And then being able to
for sure.
guide the team to that 3-0 in the Olympics. And we've talked about this, even when they crashed out, the Olympics single elimination, that stuff happens. He's arguably one more win away, get to the semis. Maybe they medal in the bronze game, and he's remembered on a completely different level. Jordy will be missed. Jordy will definitely be missed.
And I'm not totally sure. Again, they could canvas a whole bunch of other people.
Sure.
I would personally go for assistant coaches and maybe even international coaches. I know Gordy Herbert, who had coached Germany to a lot of success over the last couple of years here. He's left Team Germany, so maybe you go with him. He's a Canadian as well.
Yeah,
just like Jama's a Canadian. So I mean, not that that's the ultimate factor.
Yeah, but I like the idea of someone like Jama, have some familiarity and all of this stuff.
Ramen Ishin with Pat Delaney, bro. I gotta let Pat Delaney know that we've been caping for him.
Tell him he's a fan favorite, man.
I don't know if he's a fan favorite.
I mean he's becoming a fan favorite.
Might have been the opposite, apparently.
Yeah, shout out to Pat, man.
Other questions? Another one from Kalen. Question: any more away game trips planned for the rest of the season? Actually, we will be going on the road starting next week.
Yeah, long road trip coming up for your boys.
Your boys, once again, back on the road. We will be in Philadelphia when the Raptors take on the Sixers, I believe, next Tuesday. So we'll see. Either the Eagles will have won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And there'll be bedlam in the streets, or the Eagles would have lost the Super Bowl, and there will be probably bedlam in the streets.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's Philly.
We will be in Philly, and then we won't be at the Cleveland game. We're actually just going to go straight from Philly to All-Star. So.
Yep, we're flying to San Francisco. We'll be there for All-Star Weekend. This is Will's first All-Star Weekend experience.
Can't wait.
So we're excited to document that. Saw my boy Dylan Wang is going to be. Is it Wang? Saw my boy Dylan Wang's going to be in the celeb game. So excited about that. And Barry Bonds is coaching.
Barry Bonds is coaching. Jeremy Lin's coaching.
Jeremy Lin is definitely coaching.
Grady Dick.
Grady Dick will be there. Andre Jackson Jr. Didn't he get traded? Is going to be in the dunk contest.
Well, not yet, maybe actually. There's still
that's the other guy. Never mind.
That's AJ Jackson. That's AY Jackson.
Oh
bro.
my god.
We traded a group of 7 member and a Chinese school.
Anyways, we are on the road. We are back on the road next week. So
catch us from Philly. We'll try to see Kyle. Maybe talk to Kyle. I don't know.
Yeah,
don't want to overpromise.
We're trying.
We're trying.
Where's Norm?
We're trying. Norm will be released next week. I think
we might have to wait till Norm gets released.
No,
and then we'll make the release.
I'm gonna go over there right now and force Jerome to hit publish.
What if we just played the video on the live stream right now? Yo, every time Norm gets brought up, we gotta flash the 10 Pelinkas. Wait, there's only 8.
The 10 Rob commandments, man.
Yo, I can't believe Pelinka's first team
Dude,
all GM now.
Look at him, man.
No, this man got LeBron there. I mean, do we give him credit for LeBron?
Yes.
I heard it was Magic Johnson who kind of pulled that off.
So?
Okay, so we give Pelinka that.
Yeah.
Do we give him credit for the AD trade?
Yep.
I mean, he's got to eat the Russell Westbrook trade.
Okay.
Which I guess we should assign to LeBron.
Which they also pivoted out of West.
Yes, but that was Le GM.
That was,
Yeah.
I mean,
That was not Pele Pelinka. By the way, sources are saying his leather jacket from the presser yesterday with Luka was around $4,000.
Oh, 4,000?
Yeah.
That might have been a trade bonus kicked in from Nico Harrison. Man.
Yeah. So there we go. Those are all the questions, I believe.
Those are all the questions. Before we go, we obviously want to touch on the fact that there was another big trade that took place tonight. Jimmy Butler has resolved. The saga is over.
Finally.
The national nightmare.
The worst story arc since they stranded Krillin on Namek for 3 months.
This was a tough one, but he is indeed going to the Golden State Warriors, where he will then re-sign and extend for another 2 years at $121 million. So I'm happy for Jimmy Butler. I'm happy for his agent, Bernie Lee. After all this, they do get him to a premium destination, and they do get him a pretty good extension.
Sure.
So
he got what he wanted from a financial standpoint.
He did get what he wanted. Do you really care about this? Like him with the Warriors? Like, is that moving you at all?
Yeah, I'm not sure how much it lifts the Warriors. I think it makes them slightly better. It's not something where I think it suddenly vaults them into a contender status.
Are they going to get out of the play-in?
I mean,
probably not, right?
Probably not.
Yeah.
I think most interesting to me, because there's a bunch of subplots tied together on this, and we will get to Lee Coyote Gate. But most interesting to me was that the Warriors were calling everybody, trying to land any type of star, and there was a lot of momentum for Kevin Durant over the last couple of days until it was finally reported today that KD himself did not want to go back to Golden State, which I think when we talked about it yesterday, we did neglect, and sometimes we neglect the human factor of it.
Sure.
Because if you think about how his tenure ended in Golden State, the falling out with Draymond, just like how awkward that portion of it was.
Yeah.
And the fact that like there's this whole thing where it's always Steph's team and KD was always playing second fiddle there. It was never going to be his team. Like, did he really want to, at this point in his career, do that again?
Right.
And I guess the answer is no. So, yeah, the big loser, I don't even know if I want to call the Warriors a winner in this.
Okay.
So they send out Andrew Wiggins. Dennis Schroeder's on the move again. Another loser is Dennis Schroeder's son, who, if you remember, when Schroeder got traded to Golden State, was like, Daddy, you get to play with my favorite player, Steph. And 3 weeks later, Dennis is getting rerouted to Utah, which anytime, if you're any player that gets traded to Utah, you're getting bought out.
Daddy, you get to play with my favorite player, Isaiah Collier.
Not Collier.
Daddy, you get to play with my favorite player, Johnny Juzang.
No, man.
Daddy, you get to play with Walker Kessler.
Not Double J John Juzang.
Daddy, no, please, Jordan Clarkson. Let me get his autograph.
So of course, Kyle Anderson is also on the move.
Yeah.
And it was initially reported that because this is a multi-team deal, that Kyle Anderson was going to land in Toronto.
Okay.
And for people that don't know, Kyle Anderson has Chinese heritage in his family.
He's 1/8 Chinese.
Right.
I believe, yeah.
Yeah, so he's 1/8 Chinese. So there's a lot of excitement in our group chat. There's a lot of excitement. Mr. Beast already messaged me and was like, man, we got to secure that jersey.
Yep.
And then, of course, Michael Grange pours, a bucket of cold water on this, bucket of cold chai tea on this talk, and says that Kyle Anderson won't be coming here anymore.
Wow.
So we're still trying to understand the mechanics of it, but what Shams reported is that the deal has been agreed to, and Miami's responsible for rerouting guys.
Yeah, they're like, listen, you take Jimmy because he's a headache.
Yeah, we're going to take Wiggins.
We'll take Lee Kyer. I think we'll take Dennis Schroeder.
Yeah, but you're responsible for moving the guys to other teams.
They're like, listen, our part in this is done, okay? If you want to make this with a 3-4 team trade, that's up to you guys to do. The initial reporting from Shams was that Lee Kyer, Kyle Anderson was coming to Toronto. That was hot for like maybe 10 minutes. And in those 10 minutes, I got to say, because I was on Media Row and I was sitting beside Clement Chu, who is the president and founder of CCYAA. That's the Chinese Canadian Youth Athletic Association.
Yes.
So, super involved in the Asian community here. He
Godzilla.
was Jeremy, our friend, what we call affectionately the mainlander, Jeremy was also there. And he was super hyped.
Right.
Like we were all hugging. We were like, "Oh my God, Lee Kyer, we're gonna bring you to Markham."
You haven't seen celebration like this on Media Row since Kawhi hit that 4-bounce
We're
shot.
gonna bring you to Shing. We're gonna bring you to Patois.
Yo, fly him in a hug. Let him do the physical in the back room.
Yo, you could be right here, right
and then
now,
we'll get
man.
Bobby here. We'll get Pat Delaney here.
I was gonna text Bobby and say thank you. Asian Heritage Month coming soon.
You know what? Maybe Bobby should have done us a solid.
I was so hyped, and then he wasn't coming. I mean, all jokes aside, like I don't think that the Raptors would have had that much use for Kyle Anderson. I mean, we know that the Raptors are moving in the opposite direction.
Yeah,
Kyle Anderson does have another year after this year on his contract for $10 million.
Sure,
and then the following year it's like unguaranteed.
Man, I don't care about that. I just want a Kyle Anderson.
You
here,
just want another Chinese.
I'm not trying to hear about how his game would fit.
We could have been. He's 31 years old.
So you're 32.
It was year of the rooster, man.
So we got roosted, man. Anyways, I don't know. On a scale of 1 to 10, like 1 to 10, 10 being Kawhi leaving, like this was like, I would say this was like a 3, and then adjusted for Asianness, I guess it's a 5.
That was very.
It's
funny,
a 5.
man.
It's a 5.
That was very funny. We would have 100% gotten Lee Kyer on the podcast.
I
would have taught him Chinese. I swear I would have. I would have made so much content with Lee Kyer.
We would have definitely made some inroads, and with Asian Heritage Month coming up, definitely would have been able to guilt trip a really classic interview for you and Kyle Anderson.
Wow.
So
I love that we have to pull that card.
Yeah, I mean, lots of cards we can pull.
Fair
it's
enough.
Always the race card. Basketball reference game or real life.
That's
Anyways, another loser of this deal is the Phoenix Suns, because they were talking about trading maybe for Jimmy Butler.
Yep.
They don't get Jimmy.
Yep.
They put KD out there.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that's going to feel. And Chris Haynes sent out the saddest tweet after all of this. He said, multiple obstacles in the way to make a drastic change at the deadline. Phoenix Suns were always prepared to venture into the second half of the season with the core roster in place. With future no longer in doubt for time being, the internal hope is improved play. This is like when you like in the second like Lord of the Rings and like you're down bad, like the hobbits are down bad, they're like eating each other or whatever, and then Gandalf just like gives a speech.
Don't eat each other in there, okay?
Like this is some down bad messaging from the Phoenix Suns.
This is where like Frodo has been stung by Shelob. He's been spun up in that web. You know what I mean? Sam's climbing down Minas Ithil or whatever the mountain is called.
Yeah.
This is very funny because in the process of trying to get Jimmy Butler and failing to get Jimmy Butler, they have told Bradley Beal, we don't want you. Yeah. Bradley Beal says, I don't care. I'm staying no matter what.
Yep.
Okay. Bradley Beal's like, you can't break up with me. I don't care. Okay. Yep. He has now soured that relationship. They've then tried to pivot towards trading KD, which I'd never fully understood.
That seemed a little crazy to me because like it was to replace KD with Jimmy Butler.
So you're okay with the team as long as it's just Booker, KD, and Jimmy. Mm-hmm. But if it's not Jimmy, then you will just rather have only Booker and Beal.
Well, I
Like,
think
who were they going to get back in that trade?
I think what we're underestimating this week, starting with the Luka trade,
Yeah.
is that there's just a lot of incompetence in front offices.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I think we try to make sense of these trades from a very rational perspective, and sometimes these things can't be explained.
Yeah.
Because front offices just want to make certain moves.
Right.
Because I can't explain that one to you.
That one's tough. So
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I mean, this trade deadline's nuts.
Yeah.
Do you think?
Oh, breaking news.
Oh my God, what?
Jimmy Butler will wear number 10 for the Warriors.
I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Pass.
By the way, if you want more breaking news, tomorrow we will be at NBA Courtside Restaurant, and we're going to be going live at 2 p.m. So make sure you come hang out, and if you want to catch all the breaking news live, hang out with us. We'll be chatting about much more, probably some Brandon Ingram stuff and some other stuff. I assume some more non-Raptors trades are going to flow in
Right.
tomorrow, although I don't know what's left.
Will Chris Boucher be rerouted?
Yeah.
Will Bruce Brown be put into a bigger trade of facilitating? Because a lot of big trades have happened now.
Yes.
And we have not actually seen the Raptors jump in. Although I guess they almost jumped in with Lee Kyer, but this is tough, man.
I want this printed as a card.
Oh,
Yo, this is
no,
like the
hold
new
on.
photo booth. Everybody got to get in this shot now. Anyways,
It's just a tough
yeah,
one, man.
this was Palinka and Nico having dinners for 3 straight weeks.
They're like,
And Palinka's like, yo, you don't need to tell nobody about this.
he's like, yo,
we
man,
good.
let
We
me-
good, man. Let me help. Let me help you, man. Help
like,
me help you.
Let me take Dalton
Yeah.
Connect off the table right
Top
here.
Shot Tesla
Uh-oh.
says that Brandon Ingram has just been removed from the bench.
Is that what's happening? Is he getting traded?
Nobody, but this is like classic annual bench watch.
Wow.
9 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
So he didn't get in the game? Yo, who are these New Orleans Pelicans, man?
Yo, I know you know JRE, Jeremiah Robinson Earl.
Jeremiah Robinson Earl sounds like that's like the real name.
I just
for
call
like
him
a- for like a
Dre, but
rapper.
with a J. He's Dre.
You know what I mean? Like this is like Exhibit's real name.
Yeah.
It's not. It's Jeremiah
I
Robinson.
forgot about Dre.
Javonte Green, Antonio Reeves. Isn't
Yeah.
that the wide? Isn't that like a cornerback?
Well, this is why they're 12-90 or whatever their record is. Yeah.
Goodness, man. Keon
Oh,
Brooks
man.
Jr. Who is that?
Oh man! All right, I guess because I can't leave you for the last segment because you're gonna
what's
do your
going on?
little stuff. So like before we wrap up this segment, we can talk about the Memphis Grizzlies,
Sure. What about
who
them?
are 35-16
Oh, they're hot right now.
on the season. They're like the number 2 seed in the West right now,
Yeah.
and right now on Betway, they are 1.70 odd to be over 53.5 wins.
Man.
I think the Grizzlies are gonna get there, man. They're looking good right now.
Grizzlies are really good right now, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they found a better way to be efficient on offense. It was really interesting hearing Taylor Jenkins before the game tonight explain that their big takeaway after last season was they need to get a lot better on offense, and they've come up with this new offense: no screens, no ball screens.
Oh yeah, you talked about this.
You know what I mean? They actually did a really good job with that.
Yeah.
The size of adding Edey and putting Jaren Jackson Jr. to a natural position.
Godzilla.
Like they just crush teams, and like they did tonight against the Raptors. And they have depth because like whoever they throw out there, like pretty solid. Like last year's guys that they played a lot, GG Jackson.
Oh yeah,
you
good
know,
game, good
he had
game,
a really
Jackson.
Good game.
Yeah.
Vince Williams Jr. He's coming back to the lineup. He's been a really promising player for them. They just have so many guys to throw out there. You know what I mean? And so. Yeah, I mean, I got to check their strength of schedule, but honestly, I think that they probably have a good chance of finishing second.
I gotta check their strength of schedule.
Yeah, like a little SOS.
You nerd.
You know what I mean? Like Rihanna, SOS, you know.
But do you like this 53.5? I think they're gonna clear.
After watching this game tonight, I think they'll clear it as well.
Okay, so make sure
all
you
respects.
hit the QR code below and check out all your basketball betting odds on Betway. So unless you need me for anything else, I'm gonna head out of here.
Get
That was
out of here,
quick.
bro. Get out of
And
here.
we're gonna throw to one of our sponsors.
There we go. Okay, we're gonna go and get back to the Raptors and Grizzlies game, but first, we want to bring you a message from our sponsor. It's the 30th anniversary, and our friends at Axe are joining the celebration with a limited edition collection that's as original as the Toronto Raptors themselves.
The collection includes 3 essentials to keeping you fresh. The body spray features 48-hour high-definition scent, blending sea mist and grapefruit to keep you unstoppable throughout the day. The deodorant stick is perfect for staying confident, with a scent that keeps you smelling irresistible while showing your Raptors pride. And the body wash delivers a luxurious lather that leaves you feeling clean and smelling astonishing after every shower.
For over 40 years, Axe has drawn on body spray research and the expertise of the world's leading perfumers to craft quality fragrances and help people feel confident in their own skin.
Find the Axe Toronto Raptors 30th Anniversary Limited Edition collection at all major retailers, Walmart, Shoppers Drug Mart, and Real Canadian Superstore. But act fast because it's only available for a limited time.
Celebrate the milestone with Axe and the Toronto Raptors. Channel the freshness, energy, and unstoppable spirit of our local champions, because smelling great is always a slam dunk. Okay, it is time now for the freshest play of the game, brought to you by Axe. And before the Grizzlies completely trampled the Raptors in the second half, when the Raptors still had the lead, there was a play that I thought was really good, and it involved a two-way sequence. John Morant was driving to the basket. The Raptors had him bottled up. Scottie Barnes came over with a double team, forced him to sort of, give up the ball there. The Raptors were able to dig it back out. Jacoby Walter was able to collect a loose ball, then hit it ahead to Scottie Barnes, who's already out in transition. By this point, Grady Dick had read the play. He was already up ahead of the pack, and Scottie looked up, saw that Grady was running, threw the lob, and Grady caught it alley-oop, reverse two hands at the rim. Very, very nice two-way sequence. And at that time, the Raptors are still winning, and the Raptors are still good. Unfortunately, the Grizzlies went on to just completely destroy the Raptors, but that was a very fresh play. And big shouts to Scottie and Grady and Jacoby combining on a very exciting two-way sequence. So getting back to this game, Raptors lose, obviously, in a pretty lopsided manner. I mean, I think this is where when people are worried about tanking, it's like, and Raptors winning too many games, it's like, you take away some of the vets. You take away, Jakob in particular from this team. If he gets to miss some time here, like the Raptors do not have a good record without him. And without RJ, you're just going to struggle. And that's going to be natural. Like the Raptors had a period of health. They were playing good basketball. And now they're back to being inconsistent with health and the trade deadline coming up. And lo and behold, the results become more mixed. But tonight they just got steamrolled, and I don't really fault them all that much against it. So your 3 stars tonight, I'm going to give the first star to Jacoby Walter. I really like the way he played. 14 points for him tonight in 28 minutes. 5-11 from the field. Again, just a really promising player, man. Two-way as well. If the rest of the season is mostly just watching a young player like him grow up and get force-fed minutes and get into opportunities where he's starting, I actually don't mind. He's starting to really, really show me a lot here. Your second star is Jamal Shead. Unfortunately, it was a minus 37, overwhelmed at times by John Morant, but 14 points, 4 assists for him. I thought he played a really confident game. He was knocking down the threes. He was going to the basket. Defensively, not as strong as he typically is, but also at the same time, John Morant is way more athletic than anyone he's ever seen in his life. And then your third star, that's Ochai Agbaji. 14 points off the bench for Ochai. Ochai's been really solid of late. He's getting back into a good rhythm, good groove. He started the season as a starter. Then he, went to the bench here with the Raptors getting healthier. I thought it was a chance he might start today, but they actually gave the chance for Walter and Shead to start as the rookie backcourt. So Ochai actually did a really good job. 14 points, 5 of 7 from the field, 3 of 4 from 3. I hope that he's able to stay healthy. He's been he's more of a B-side to the season, you know what I mean? Like, if you're listening to Oasis, you're probably listening to, like, Wonderwall. You're listening to Don't Look Back in Anger. But, like, for me, Ochai Agbaji is more like a slide away. If you know type of song. So, I know Alex is over there disgusted right now. He's shaking his head. He just closed his laptop and just put in an order at Shing. Your Gerald Henderson Award winner tonight, you could really take your pick. But I think, with all due respect to his homecoming, Zach Edey, you got to get it tonight. 13 points, 15 rebounds, just completely crushing guys. Actually, just so happy and so proud of him. It's been a long time coming for him. He came to the sport late. He resisted the idea of playing basketball. Of course, when you're that tall, you're going to get into it. But he's not one of those bigs that's just like, okay, I'm going to play basketball because I'm big. He's devoted. He's dedicated. Again, like, to work himself into the shape that he's worked himself into. You compare him versus like 2 years ago at Purdue, it's night and day. And he was great in Purdue, like dominant, best player in college. But he's come into the league, he's so focused. And to see him and with hundreds of people in the crowd, from his AAU program in Northern Kings here in Toronto, to his coaches, his parents, the Chinese community here in Toronto supporting him as well. I'm sure the Leaside community is supporting him. Like, it's just really awesome to see, and I'm really happy for him that he was able to show out at home for the first time. So that's it. I know there's a lot to talk about Brandon Ingram. We will see again. Once again, we will be going live tomorrow at 2 p.m. At NBA Courtside Restaurant. So we'll be going live at that point. We'll either be breaking down Brandon Ingram as a Raptor or reacting to more trades of that potentially happening. We'll see again what happens overnight. But for now, this has been the game. Thanks everyone for listening. I appreciate everyone. If you enjoyed what you saw here tonight, just hit a like on the stream. It just really helps to surface the video the morning after and stuff like that for people who are watching it the day after. Big thanks to everyone here at Hong Shing for making this space available to us. Genuinely, if you need a Chinese restaurant in the city, Hong Shing is the place to be at. Super hospitable, great drinks, great food. Yeah. Anyway, big shout out to Jerome for setting this up, who wants me to get off this thing, and Alex Wong. And yeah, this has been the Hello Welcome Podcast presented by Betway. We'll see what trades happen between now and tomorrow.